Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Covenant Army Podcast, where our mission is to equip couples to align with God and win the daily battle, raging against marriage and family. We're back, guys. It's Brent and Lucy. We're so excited that you're here with us today. If you haven't had a chance to go back and check some of our podcasts out, we have some great episodes that are there. Remember, guys, like, share, subscribe, put comments on there, Lord, guys, so we can continue to have the conversation and see where all this stuff's going to go.
Just love to hear your feedback and know what you're thinking. And even if you'd like to hear us talk about a specific topic that maybe we haven't touched on, definitely share with us. We'd love to hear.
Absolutely. So making an ongoing conversation. So, babe, what do you think about my shirt? I changed it up.
You did change it up.
No black today.
It's green.
I know.
It's army green.
It's army green. Let me move my microphone for the people that are watching so that I can tell them exactly what it says. Army of the Lord. I pulled this out from the archives, babe. I've had this shirt for, we laughing?
From the archives?
Yeah, from the archives. I've had this shirt for, gosh, man, a long time. I don't know how long it would have been. 10 years, 12 years?
I have no idea, but it's been in there for a while.
It still kind of fits, so that's nice.
Yeah.
But I just like it. I think God had been speaking to us for a long, long time.
What do you mean kind of fits? I think it fits great.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah.
I'm glad you like it because that's really what matters.
It looks wonderful.
So not too crazy because I know certain colors. Maybe this brings out the green in my eyes a little possibly.
Yeah, it does for sure. For sure.
But so babe, what are we going to talk about today?
I was thinking about the other day when we were picking up our son from youth group, and we typically pick him up with a couple of friends that we drop off. We do the carpool thing. And there's along in the friend group there's a girl and there's our son's best friend. But they typically would hop in the car, and we noticed the first few times that the boys would just hop in there and completely forget about the girl. And for many years, we've been trying to teach our son how to care for women.
Let's just keep in mind, these are two 12-year-old boys and a 15-year-old girl.
Yes.
So that dynamic itself is kind of...
Well, she's 14. She's just turning 15 this week.
Is it this week?
I think it's Monday.
Oh, I thought she already was. I'm sorry.
No, she's 14.
Well, she's practically 15.
Practically 15.
Okay.
However, we have been super intentional about teaching our son about, opening doors for girls and just being very mindful of girls, learning how to be gentle with them and just kind of caring for girls. And we started training him with his sister.
Well, his sisters.
Right. Well, the last one that was here with him the most is what I'm talking about, because he didn't get to spend, a lot of them were already grown.
Yes, he's had the most time with the latest.
Our 19-year-old.
Our 19-year-old daughter. But I've been very intentionally trying to show him that forever, since he was little. I mean, I've always tried to open the door for you. Am I 100% perfect all the time? I would be lying if I said yes, but the truth is I'm getting slower in my old age, and I can't get around the car quick enough for you to get out because you're usually out by the time I come around. So I literally have to say, babe, stay in the car until I come around and let you out.
Well, sometimes it gets too hot. We're in Florida. It's hot.
It is hot. I will.
The car gets hot real quick as soon as you turn it on.
But let's be honest, it's not like I'm taking 5 minutes to get around. It's
I don't
really
know.
Like,
sometimes you got to look at yourself in the windows.
Like 4 seconds, 5 seconds.
Okay. Sure.
I'm like the Flash, girl. I'm like running around, zipping around there. Gonna get that car door open.
But I do think initially when it started was when he noticed when he was a lot younger that you were opening my door. So he decided he wanted to do the same thing, which is super awesome as we talk about here when we talk about parenting and how kids kind of model after what the parents are doing.
Yeah.
That was a perfect example when we saw him pick that up all on its own, and then we started to be more intentional with it. And it was funny because he would try to fight with you to open my door.
Well, yeah, because he wanted to open the door for his sister and open his door for his mom.
Right.
So, yeah, that was a hot dog mess.
So it was funny, but this past Tuesday when we picked him up from youth group, is we had mentioned that to him, like, hey, did you forget that there was a girl climbing in the car? Did you forget that we let the girl go in first? And because the sister has been out of the house now for about a year, and he's been kind of on his own here. He's like the Lone Ranger left in the house with us. So he hasn't been practicing that as much as he used to. So we reminded him, like, hey, let's not forget that we got to be gentle and take care of women.
Well, to be fair, I think the hurdle here is for him is that he sees his best friend's sister as like not a girl. Not that she's not girly. That's not what I'm saying. But what I'm
Right.
saying is he sees her not like
As just his best friend's sister.
yeah, like his best friend's sister. So he doesn't see her in that light. I think.
But I think
Having the
once we started
conversation.
to point it out,
Yes.
he started to see it differently. But what I was getting at was this past week when we picked him up,
Mhm.
that he was trying to be intentional about that. And his friend is not used to doing that. So he's trying to get a hold of his friend, like holding him back to give his sister the opportunity to climb in the car first.
Yes.
I thought it was funny because they were almost wrestling because his friend wanted to get in the car. And he's like, no, you have to let your sister in first. So I thought that was funny. But
Yeah. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Well, no, it was the comment they made a couple weeks ago when we first introduced it to all three of them when they were in the car.
when we
We told him, we said,
reiterated.
hey, you have to let the ladies in first. And this is to his friend. What'd he say?
His friend said, well, she's not a lady.
Yeah.
But-
She's no lady.
He's funny because,
He's
there's
comical.
it's his sister. So, of course, he's like, what? Not her. She's not really a girl, or she's not really
No,
a lady.
She's not really a lady.
Right. I
Yeah.
thought it was hilarious when he
Yeah.
said that. But it just made me think about how intentional we should be, us married couples, husbands, wives out there, in helping to teach these things to our sons, right? And our daughters to
I was gonna say sons
understand.
and daughters. not
To
just sons.
understand, like, this is something that God put in men early on to want to take care of their woman, right? Their wife, their girlfriend, fiance, when they're dating. Like, how do they know how to behave, right? If they're not trying to pick it up from like TV shows or friends, how are they going to know the right way to do this?
Well, what's funny, like even when we're out, and again, I try to do it often, open your door for you,
Mhm.
that we will do it and another couple or someone across the way will make a comment about seeing us do
Mhm.
that.
Well,
And it's-
typically it's older couple.
Well, it's typically an older couple, but
Mhm.
it's just so interesting that something so simple is so foreign to people nowadays.
Mm.
Something as simple as opening the door for a woman stops people in their tracks where, wow, that's pretty nice. That's pretty awesome. Some of the comments that we're getting, it's like,
Mhm.
man, that's pretty interesting. That didn't cost me a nickel.
Right.
It's literally just opening the car door for my bride, and it catches people's attention.
Mm-hmm.
But again, it goes to show you how far away we have gotten
Right.
in our culture and in our society of chivalry,
Mhm.
or in this case, just a man being a gentleman.
Right.
Like that mindset that as husbands and as fathers, we are meant to be gentlemen, and we're meant to train our little guys, our
Mhm.
sons, to be gentlemen as well. Gentlemen in training as well, you call them.
Right.
Gents. But like we need to refocus that again. Like, why has it got so far away that it's not common anymore?
Well, and you know what? I think because it's not common, and this is just my perspective as a woman, right? I'm sure there'll be plenty
Well,
other
you couldn't give me any other perspective.
plenty other opinions out there, but I
Yeah.
feel that maybe because we've gotten away from that so much, I feel like certain women, especially like the women nowadays that are like, well, I'm a boss babe, I'm independent, I can take care of myself, you don't need to open my door. They've almost kind of tried to smother that in men.
Mm.
So then men are kind of like, oh, well, what if she doesn't like it?
I've actually had that happen to myself where I've tried to open the door being a gentleman, right? Because
Mhm.
that's how I was trained. And literally where the woman will say, nope, I don't need that. I got it. So it makes you kind of step back and say, sorry, I'm just trying to, do the right thing. So you don't know how to really respond in that moment in that situation.
Well, I mean, my default would be back going to God's word.
Mhm.
We got to do the right thing no matter what anybody else is saying.
Right.
Right? Do the right thing no matter what anybody else thinks. Everybody's going to have an opinion. But honestly, I think this is one thing that is necessary in our world, helping men understand that it's okay to be a gentleman. It's okay to open doors. It's okay to pay for your girlfriend's meal, your fiance's meal. Like, that stuff is actually nice. And secretly, I know that every woman wants to be taken care of in that way. And not to undermine the woman's position, because we know we're both equal in God's eyes, right? Not to undermine her position, but I know there is something that happens inside of a woman when a man wants to take care of them, cover them in that way.
Mm-hmm.
I know. And I feel like women that are suppressing that, there's been another hurt or something in their life, in their past, that is causing them to suppress that need, that want, that desire to be covered in that way by their husband, by a boyfriend, fiance, whoever they're, right? Like, I think there's something that has happened to suppress that, but I think we need to bring that back.
Well, one thing that I'll share, it's not just nice, it's necessary.
Mm-hmm.
It's necessary in our society that we do bring back these virtues.
Yes.
And the reason I think, number one, what you're sharing, why women have gotten away from it, is because of the training they're receiving, like you said.
For sure.
From society, from social media.
Maybe from their own parents.
From cultures, from possibly, who knows? Because, that whole uprising a few years back where women felt less than, that they had to step up, but the fact now they're trying to step over.
Right.
And it throws everything out of balance.
It does.
Because like you said, if God has it the design where men and women are equal, and which we've seen it both ways. We've seen it where men have kind of elevated themselves, which threw the balance off.
Right.
And we've seen it where women tried to elevate themselves, which thrown the balance off.
Correct.
But the only way to correct it is to go back to the foundational truths of God's word.
Right.
And we treat each other with honor and respect.
Mm-hmm.
And part of the covenant army is like, okay, we need to get back to the virtues that are in God's word, that we treat one another with honor and respect, with compassion, with love. You know what I mean? And again, it's like, doing the right thing no matter what. I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just going to jump in to say, specifically because we're still raising a young man, right? He's 12 going on 13. Specifically for those parents out there that are raising kids in this generation, there are like easy things to help teach boys, to help kind of reintegrate this back into society, right? And the more of us do it, the more we'll see it.
Well, yes, and we need people to step up and take that task on of training, because maybe you don't have a son or daughter in your household, but I guarantee you have kids around you to some aspect. Maybe it's kids at church, maybe it's your friends' kids or whatever. You can still be that example. And as you're talking about some of those examples, I know we talked about opening the car door. One that I didn't learn till very late in life, and I felt really stupid because I never heard it, was the fact that men were supposed to step on the outside of the road and keep the female on the inside of the road. I was never taught that. It was a foreign thing, and when you brought it up to me, so I was 30-something when I first learned this. I'm like, oh my gosh.
Actually, you brought it up to me first.
Well, I don't remember, but my thought was like, why was I never taught this? Why did someone never teach me this simple truth on how to be a gentleman? And again, I don't think they intentionally didn't do it, but I think over time, through culture and society, we just had gotten away from it based on everything that was taking place.
Right.
But today is a new day. Today is a new opportunity for us to, I don't want to say turn back the clock, because I think we're turning it forward to make it even better.
Right.
Where we can start putting these virtues that are important to bring things back into alignment.
Yeah.
Because, right, if women feel down, it's not that they need to step up. As husbands and fathers, we need to lift our wives up, to lift our wives and girlfriends up, right? To be who God has called them to be. We treat them with respect and treat them with honor.
Respect. That is a key word.
Well,
a key word that like parents should be asking themselves, are we doing our best to ensure that our children are being raised in a manner that teaches them to respect others and to have respect for others, right? Because that's part of this kind of training. Like, it's basic to have respect for another, but specifically when we're talking about boys, like you're talking about, like, standing on the
outside by the street where the female's on the inside.
On the inside, right.
Correct.
There's also the element of shaking hands.
That's a big one.
Teaching your son how to shake hands.
Yeah.
Because I've seen that. I've seen other men before, like, when...
Go ahead and say it. You're not going to hurt anybody's feelings.
No, I've just seen other men where they shake somebody's hand and it's like...
Like a wet noodle?
Yeah. Didn't anybody ever show you how to shake a man's hand or something like... I've heard that before.
They throw it out, and if you can see it on the screen, I'm doing that little... the thing where the the knight used to kiss the maiden's hand.
Right.
Sorry, guys, put my hand up in your face there. But, throw it out there to like, bro, come on now. You grab a hold, firm handshake.
Yeah.
Because again, it's a sign, not just strength, but respect. It's respect for one another when you shake each other's hands.
Well, respect, and it also shows a certain level of confidence if you know how to,
True.
right? How to have a firm handshake.
Mm-hmm.
So that's something really important for, a young man to learn.
Well, as fathers and husbands and moms, we need to be speaking that into our sons, right? That level of confidence. And he's going to have more confidence when he understands who he is in Christ Jesus, who God has created him to be.
Yeah, because that was Jesus all the time, right? Respectful. He was gentle. And when he needed to be firm, he was firm. However, there was a gentleness that he had that attracted people to him, right?
Right.
Another one is practicing like politeness and polite manners. The please and thank yous.
Well, I was going to say, that was one thing that I know when you and I got together that you were really impressed by.
Yeah, for sure.
I always say please and thank you. Yes, ma'am. No, ma'am. It doesn't matter. Like, I don't care if you're younger than me. I'm going to show you respect based on who you are as a human being and as another person created in Christ.
Right.
And lucky for me, that is one thing that I got taught, is how to be polite when speaking to another person.
That's why I love to visit with your family up north. I just love that everybody has that level of respect.
That part we got right. A lot of stuff we got wrong, but that part we got right.
Yeah, they're just the manners and the kindness and the please and thank yous, right? Where, nowadays in this society, there's like an element of, I want it now when you owe me something, and there's an entitlement. No,
man, if you want please or thank you, you got to go Chick-fil-A, man. That's the only place I know that I can pull up to, and it's been a pleasure to meet me.
I mean, sure.
But look, I want you to think about that, though. Think about how that particular company put that practice into play, and it stuck, where it really stands out to people.
And think about what it would do if we teach this more intentionally with our kids.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying.
Like moms and dads, like we are doing our kids a disservice if we are not putting this in front of them every day to teach them, hey, kindness is a thing. Please and thank you. It shows respect. Nobody owes you anything.
Wasn't that what God calls us to do, to be kind to one another? I mean, that's one of the things that he tells us in his word. Be kind.
Right.
Compassionate, tenderhearted, forgiving. Like, these are ways to be kind, and specifically to our children. Again, training them
right
in this. So what else about as far as like chivalry and training our
Well,
sons?
we talked about, making sure that they open doors for women and for girls, but also another thing, and this is for all kids really, helping out, doing chores. What is that teaching them? That everything doesn't revolve around them? Absolutely. And teaches them that, hey, everybody has a task to do. We're a family in this house. Like, there are things that everybody can do.
Well, I don't want to talk on this one, and I know this is maybe going a little side note, but I got to say it. Treating our elders with respect.
Yes.
Treating people in authority with respect. And this is my opinion. I'm going to step up on my soapbox here a little bit, because with everything that's going on in the world today, everything that's going on with the colleges and everything that's just out there. I mean, you turn on television, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. Such a lack of respect for authority in this country right now. With the police, with the government, with whoever.
Right.
Like, people are just not respectful of one another, of people, of people's property. In my own opinion, this goes back to us as parents.
Yeah. Oh, that's the first thought that I have is like, when I see these kids,
who raised these kids?
Who raised you to do this? Because I'm gonna tell you what, we got a kid in college right now, and I was the first one to call her when I saw this mess happening on screen. And I'm like, tell me that this mess isn't happening in your school. Well, she was like, well, no, none of that is happening. And I was like, yeah, I was making sure that if it was, that you weren't part of this craziness, because why are we going to fund kids to go to school to be disrespectful and disrespect authority? Like, no, like these kids are legitimately destroying campuses. Destroying campuses, and the fact that they have let it go that long is crazy to me. So,
well, it seems like now they're starting to wrap things up,
right?
Which is good, because listen, man, if you're breaking the law, I don't care what side of the aisle you want to stand on.
It's not right.
If you're breaking the law, it's not right. You need to be held accountable.
Right.
That's the bottom line.
Yep.
So I don't want to go too far into that, because I know that's a whole nother deal.
Oh yeah, for sure.
But another thing that I'm thinking of as far as chivalry, and this again for boys and for girls, if you're sitting in a seat and you're a young man, and someone is older than you, you need to get yourself up. Start saying your buttocks up.
You're gonna say
You need to get yourself up and let them have your seat. So disrespectful to see a young person sitting in a seat when there's an an older person standing up beside
or
them.
a girl,
or
a pregnant woman.
Oh yes, pregnant, like whoever. Like, come on, bro.
Just somebody who obviously needs a seat more than you.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was about to go into that. Like,
Oh,
I know a lot of kids or people nowadays probably don't even think about it.
Well, because we weren't trained and taught that way. But when I was growing up, that was something that we were taught. Like if you were sitting in a seat and one of your aunts or uncles or someone older than you came in, you just knew, okay, you're getting up.
Right.
Like you're just relinquishing the seat because it's going
For sure.
to go of someone based on who they are.
Mm-hmm.
Like, again, it's showing respect for our elders.
Right.
And if we don't teach our kids this, guys, or a lot of kids in society today, they just don't know this stuff.
Right.
They've never been taught it. So it would be foreign to them. So now we got to kind of roll this puppy back a little bit and start showing them. And that's the thing, right? We have to be the example. Let them see you get up.
Right.
Let them see give your seat up so they can go, what are you doing there?
Right.
And now you have an opportunity to teach.
Yeah, because
Well, this is
remember,
why.
they model their behavior after what they see their parents do or the people that are around them, predominantly what they're doing, right? So the last point that I wanted to bring up is teaching our young boys to learn to defend women, right? There's a lot of times where I'm sure a little boy, I'm thinking about our 12-year-old, can be in a situation at school where a girl is being, maybe bullied or mistreated, and they can step in the way to help out, right? To help be that knight in shining armor that all of us women always saw, in movies and princess movies, that we wanted our boyfriends or just any man to come and just stand in the way of that danger.
Well, yeah, man, because it's important for guys and boys to understand we're there to be the protectors. Obviously, God made us different, right? Physically different. And even the Bible, it says, when I think it's in 1 Peter 3:7, if I remember, or 1 Peter 3, where he talks about your wife as the weaker vessel. That's a physical difference. Not that she's weaker or less than, but a physical difference there between a man and a woman.
Right.
And that's not saying there's not strong women. That's not what I'm saying. But ideally, we're called as men to be protectors.
Right.
Our sons need to see us protecting our wives, our daughters. So they get that in their mind. This is something that we're supposed to do.
Yeah.
So he has that drive in him to want to be that protector as it comes up.
Right.
Not the guy that's going to turn the cheek and run off.
Right.
When danger happens.
Right.
And that's the craziest thing where I see videos where what's that show where son likes to watch, Fell Army?
Right.
Fell Army. And you'll see stuff like these crazy things that are happening, right? And the guy will be the first one to take off running. And the woman's sitting there like, where did he go? Like, that's got to be the worst feeling in the world, that you think this guy that's going to be there to protect you, to cover you.
Right.
And when the dust settles, you're standing by yourself.
Yeah.
Crazy.
And to help our young boys understand how to respectfully speak to ladies, to young girls. Like, there's an element of respect in the way you interact and the way you speak. And I understand, like, little boys, they like to, kind of razz little girls or whatever. But there's always keeping that respectfulness in mind when a young boy is dealing with a girl, and obviously when men are dealing with women.
Well, again, because the men of today were once young boys.
Right.
And it's that training that we're seeing come out in men.
Yeah.
And that's why we've been really intentional with our youngest son. Like, hey, girls are princesses.
Right.
You need to treat them as such. And when he gets out of line with that, we're very quick,
remind
with
him.
love, to say, hey, buddy, that's not the way we talk to girls, and remind him. So he, in his mind, because one day we're not going to be there.
Well, here's the thing. Respect for girls should never be an option.
No.
It should not be optional.
No.
So, and that's kind of the last point I wanted to make. It's important.
Well, it is a good point. I just want to put one little cherry on top. Guys, men should never hit a woman.
Right.
I mean, I shouldn't even have to say it.
Well, you shouldn't.
I shouldn't have to say it, but I'm going to say it because, again, we got to treat them with respect. We got to treat women with respect.
Well, that same verse you brought up, 1 Peter 3, it
Yep.
talks about how the man should treat, or the husband should treat his wife with gentleness, right? To be gentle.
I just want to say, to wrap that up, that God gave men strength to be a protector, not an abuser.
Right.
So use our strength that's going to honor and glorify God and also the women that he puts under your covering.